Hello, and welcome back to Myth Keepers. We are your hosts. I am Zach, and joining me as always, he just got through telling me everywhere that he wanted to lick me. It is Scotty fucking Westside.
How did I not see that coming? Yeah, I forgot about that part.
Yeah. How could you forget about that part?
How
That's
could
the
I
best
forget
part
about
of these
that?
chapters.
Yeah, true.
No, it's not.
I don't have to tell you where I want to lick you because you already know.
Oh, I already know.
It's everywhere. Spoiler.
I
it's
already
everywhere.
know.
Zachy boy, how are ya? We're here. We're back.
We're here. We're back.
It's
We're talking
ACOMAF time.
Got bars. I'm doing good. You're doing good.
Yeah.
We just talked about how we're doing
True.
on our Patreon segment. So if you're not listening to that, go listen to that. You can find us at patreon.com/mythkeepers.
Flawless execution.
Join the Patreon. Stop being a filthy common. And you can hear us shoot the shit. Today, we took a Game of Thrones map geography quiz, which was challenging.
We did pretty
fun.
all right, though. We did pretty all right.
You
say we get way higher than the average. Almost 20% higher than the average.
Pretty good.
Pretty all right.
Pretty all right. And we listened to some J-pop music. Scotty Westside showed me some of his favorite songs from the new Persona, or from not the new Persona game, but from a Persona game.
Actually,
is it new? Okay,
well, it's the remake.
I don't. Yeah, the remake of an old Persona game, but
exactly.
It's new music.
Nailed it.
Right?
Some yes, some no.
Oh my god,
But what I had you listen to, yes, was new.
And that is what we did on Patreon today. So yeah, go do that. But hey, listen, if you don't do that, that's okay. We still love you. Still appreciate you listening and watching this episode and hanging out with us as we discuss the ACOTAR series, ACOMAF, for a very first time, reading Romantasy. And Scotty, do you have the Patreon list up? Because we've got to say thank you to some people.
I don't, but I can get it here real quick. Let's see.
Real quick,
I have got it here. That is a great call, Zach. We want to give the shout out to our loving patrons. That is Hannah, Sarah, Kristen, Emma, Andrea, Terrence, Jenna, Chaz, Allie, Jen, Nathan, Jordan, Dom, Nico, and Sydney. Thank you so much. You just enjoyed our long ass Patreon section, and we love that.
Or maybe you didn't enjoy it, but that's okay.
Yeah. Or maybe you hated it, and that's okay too. We're just here. We're just doing what we do.
Hell yeah. But without further ado, I think we have some ACOMAF to discuss. Today we are talking chapters 29 through 33.
That is correct.
And our squadron takes a little trip down to the summer court.
They do, but that comes later. They first have to take a little trip out for dinner, because where we last left off, Feyre wanted a romantic dinner, and Rhys pulled the goal. Hey, let me invite the squad. Let me get the boys.
Yeah,
let me get the boys.
I kind of love it, but I'm like, Rhys, come on, my bro. What are we doing?
She doesn't seem mad about it.
No,
I think she's fine with it.
I think it's good that she is like mingling more with the group.
I feel like in these chapters there is a bit of a return to normalcy for Feyre, more than we've gotten in the last however long. Obviously, she's still going through some shit.
Yeah,
but she's leveling out, so to speak.
Sure. Yeah, this is especially the first few chapters. This is the most like kind of slice of life, like chapters we get. Like, I mean, yes, she's training, like she's sparring.
Yeah, there's a lot of the training. Yeah,
but like even that, like that's just the vehicle. Like the interactions she's having are just like honest, just kind of hanging out, getting to know people. And I kind of enjoyed it. It did make the chapters go by a bit faster. I did feel like, I'm talking overarching here, but like it was maybe a little bit lacking in like stuff happening.
The plot moving.
But I did enjoy the interactions actually quite a bit. So I don't, I'm not sure if you felt the same, but I enjoyed it.
I was kind of meh. I was like, this is fine. I'm not mad about it, but I wouldn't be mad if they moved the plot along. Thankfully, they did, and I did enjoy where I think that is going. I enjoyed the
Oh,
Summer Court
yes.
stuff, so we'll get to that.
I enjoyed that quite a bit.
Okay.
Yeah, let's run through these first few chapters. Why don't you kick us off?
Feyre, the first note I have here is Feyre is surprised at how normal their conversations are. The others like Cassian and Morgan and Amren and them as they move through the city with Rhys and everyone. Also, we find out Amren is a huge sports ball fan.
I love her.
She loves the sports ball. Go team. They do not tell me the name of the team that she's a diehard fan for, and I feel like that's a big mistake.
It's a missed opportunity.
Yes,
because there could be merch.
Yes, exactly.
Like truly from a marketing standpoint, why are these teams not made a thing?
First of all, what kind of a sport do you think this is? What do fairy sports entail?
Well, okay, so we don't know what kind of fae play the sports, right? Because it wouldn't be fair if somebody who had like powers like our squad are playing against a lesser fae.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so.
Right. So it's gotta be, I don't know, maybe it's like, to be honest, it's probably some rendition, like some tweaked version of like a soccer, like you put the ball in the goal.
Sure.
But I don't fucking know.
All I know is I need to know the name of Amren's favorite team so I can be a fan of them as well.
Maybe it's like, hey, in order to be on our team, you have to be the hottest individual that like any person's probably ever seen.
Oh, that's just a given.
And like or they play with these ping pong balls and they gotta like bounce them off their abs and like I don't fucking know.
Do you think is Amren like the underdog supporter? Is Amren's team like the perpetual underdog, or do you think she's like a front runner?
I could kind of see her just being like, nah, I like to win. Like I like the best team, or whatever team has like treasure in their logo.
That's what I was gonna say. I can see her being the fan that's like, I like this team's colors.
yeah, for sure.
That's cool. That was a tiny little tidbit here, but of course I hyper focused on that because I thought it was hilarious.
Speaking of Amren, you know what wasn't a tiny little tidbit?
Her drinking blood.
Just straight up, like that's what she eats.
Yeah.
Like just no regular food. She's just like, yo, thanks for killing that pig for me and giving me its blood.
Or whatever it was. I feel like Feyre has mentioned before that she always just kind of pushes her food around her plate and doesn't really eat. But now we find, spiced blood. Because Amren even makes mention of like, oh, you spiced it nicely. You
spiced it real good.
Yeah.
What do you think? What spices do you think are in there?
Definitely some cinnamon, cloves.
Oh, okay, like sweet.
Not necessarily sweet, but just very aromatic.
Oh, okay, kind of like a sangria.
Sure, yeah.
Like a nice holiday sangria.
Yes, I'm picturing just like a mulled wine, but blood.
Maybe there's some pumpkin spice. It is the season.
Maybe so. I don't know. Amren seems like the type is like pumpkin spice is for bitches.
For fucking basic,
bitches.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, hey, but actually, before we get the blood thing, I kind of love this reenactment of Rhys and the squad basically being like the Godfather squad, like this restaurant owner like comes out, kisses them all on the cheeks and like takes them to their table, and I'm like, dude, this is just the Godfather. I love that.
Goodfellas, that part of Goodfellas, I can see that.
Right.
I don't know what you have next, but the next note I have here is apparently Feyre is asking Rhys if he gives Amren jewelry because he's into her.
Because he wants to fuck,
Yeah. And Rhys says, when I was young and stupid, I once invited her to my bed. She laughed herself hoarse.
Yes.
That's great stuff. He says the jewelry is just because I enjoy buying it for a friend who works hard for me and has my back when I need it. Staying in her good graces is an added bonus.
Hmm.
I love the idea of Amren just cackling herself mad at the
Honestly,
idea
though,
of,
yeah, same,
yeah,
100%.
so great. I love Amren.
I had I think this is like right before that. Moore wants to go dancing,
Uh-huh.
and there's this whole like exchange between Cassian and Azriel. There, we uncover that there's like a weird, like it's a love triangle thing that happened. I
Yes.
feel like,
I didn't think it was before. And
yeah,
then through the middle, I was like, oh, this is a love triangle. But then later, it almost seems like, no, it's not. Cassian's just
or
like
maybe
looking out for
that's
Azriel.
yeah, like either it's a love triangle thing or Cassian like ruined what they had by doing something, or like is like you said, like kind of just trying to look out for his boy if he feels like more is like playing with Azriel.
I don't know. We'll we'll get more into this later. There's a second like
Little spat.
portion, yeah, spat here. I think it's when her
Yeah.
and Cassian are having a go.
Uh,
I do want to talk more about this, but
okay.
let's get to that. But
Okay.
yes,
All right.
that was a bit strange because yes, this was the first part. I was like, oh, it's a love triangle between the three of them, which I didn't think was the case before, and I still am not sure that is the case now.
Right. Okay. So some of the info that we get here, and I'll kind of run through my notes here
Hmm.
quickly so we can get to some of the juicier stuff. So we learned that there was an ancient High Lord of the
Hmm.
Night Court, back when the Night Court was actually just the Nightmare Court. Like
Right,
it actually was shit and scary, and the rest of the realm basically hated them because they were basically monsters.
right, and they
Um,
did rule from under the mountain, like the hewn city.
right, right. But he had sealed the borders and staged a coup
Hmm.
and kind of like just like usurped, I guess, like the power
Yeah,
in the Night Court and
eliminated like all the worst fuckers.
right. So yeah, sounds like a solid revolutionary.
Hmm.
So yeah, he basically rebuilt the Night Court into what it is now.
Right.
Placed enchantments, and
He built
Rhys even
Valeris,
says
sounds like from the ground up almost.
right, and he placed enchantments around it to seal it off. And Rhys even makes a comment that like possibly his own blood is part of the enchantments on
Yeah.
the rocks in the river, right?
Yeah, something to the effect of like, because obviously it seems a little ridiculous how like secret Valeris is when there's like trade going on with it. But
Yeah.
apparently like part of the spells don't allow anyone that like leaves to like talk about it, or it makes them good liars when they're asked about it. And apparently
Yeah.
some of these spells are so, yeah, it's a little hokey, but whatever. And apparently some of these spells are so powerful because yes, like did he give his life to like seal that deal, or just a little
Yeah.
blood magic? It's a little unclear.
That's what that's how I understood it.
I understood it as well as like he literally gave his life to
I'm
make this spell ultra
I have to
powerful.
admit, like for this guy being like the father
Right.
of Valaris and like of the riches and peace and like just the space that they have to protect all these people, like why didn't we get his name? Like this seemed like he should be like
More important and more
yeah,
like a
just
bigger
like
deal.
revered, like
Yeah.
hey, like this is like the father of what we have here, you
I
know?
can only guess we're going to get more later because I felt the same way. I was like, this seems really
Like this would be
tossed.
so important to their people
Right.
and their culture.
This seems a little tossed off for how like fundamental to Valaris this is. Like
The
this
only
dude should be like Rhys's like hero, you know?
right. And the only thing I can really think of here is like do the people of Valaris know that they are protected from the outside world, or are they also living in a bubble and think that like everything is sunshine and
Well,
rainbows?
I feel like they have to, because he even says here, Rhys says along the way, despite his best intentions, darkness grew again.
Right. Okay.
Not as bad as it in one spin, but bad enough that there's a permanent divide within my court.
Okay.
And we
All right,
allow the world to see the other half to fear them so that they might never guess this place thrives here.
Yeah. Anyway,
It's
interesting
strange.
stuff.
Yeah.
Love a little history and lore dump in any fantasy that I'm reading. So yeah, that's pretty neat. Even if the magic stuff is a little,
It's a little hokey, yeah, but
it is what it is.
Also, we find out that Rhys has had lovers but never married. There was no one serious enough to take the risk. He says basically that a huge target on the backs of whoever would be his mate and
that
their
they would be
offspring
hunted
too. Yeah.
Right. There was one thing, because you know how much I've been eating up the romance stuff in this series so far. One thing I really liked is the explanation of the music stuff.
The music, yeah.
I really liked that.
Okay. Well, hit me with it.
So Feyre, as they're walking, because they decide to not go dancing, right?
Yeah.
Like they just walk home.
She's tired.
Feyre begins to hear music being played in the distance, and she realizes that it's a reduced version of that. Do you remember this when we talked about? Like we were just like, what the fuck is happening?
What just happened? Yeah.
So it's a reduced version of the song that she heard like come to her in the dungeon when she was under the mountain. And my note is like, is this the same song that put her on an acid trip? Yes, this is the same song, I think.
I think it made it sound like the music banged her. I think was
yeah, it was just like it
was strange.
Like came all through her.
Yeah,
and it was like a very strange experience.
That music got her all wet.
But yeah, so she realizes that the music was a song that Rhys sent through their connection.
Yeah.
And she asks him about it, and he says because he knew that she was breaking, and he didn't know how else to like save her or like reach out to her.
Oh, you could have licked her tears because you did that to save her from breaking once too.
She thanks him for everything.
She does. That was sweet.
And he's just like, and I'm in. Picks her up and flies her home.
Yeah.
Like, dude. She does think, however, it says he slides an arm under her leg and flies her home. And she does think she can get used to this. She thinks she could get used to this.
It's a whole new world, isn't it, Jasmine?
Yeah, it is a whole new world.
Huge Aladdin vibes for some
Truly.
reason.
So, at the house.
Oh, yeah. They're passing flirty notes in class again.
Oh, my God. Scott, I was like, oh!
Yeah.
I
knew you would love this.
Let's go. Did you not like it? Because I was
it's
like,
fine.
Hey, this is going.
It's fine.
I'm in it. Why am I liking this shit so
much? I
don't
know. You're such a fucking weird ass.
Yeah, I don't know. So she's reading in bed, and then she sees this like the note pop up, and then a pen pops up, and it says,
"Boy, that magic's handy, huh?"
Dude, I know, right? You know what's so funny too? Like, really think about this. They're just texting.
Yeah,
but think about how much lamer it would be if they had cell phones and they were texting each other, versus it just being this like, ooh, this little enchantment.
It's way more when it's like fantastical like this. Yeah, it's way hotter than just
so hot,
booty texting her.
Like, hey, you up?
Yeah, exactly. That
so
comes later.
I come later too. So it says, I might be a shameless flirt, but at least I don't have a horrible temper. You should come tend to my wounds from our squabble in the snow. I'm bruised all over thanks to you.
Yeah, I thought he was throwing some hard shade at Tam here. Then I realized, he's just talking about her because, like, earlier in the day, she beat the shit out of him or something.
Right.
I was like, God damn, dude. The Tam thing is not something I would be bringing up. But then I realized.
She says, go lick your wounds and leave me be. And he says, I'd much rather you licked my wounds for me. And I was like, pause. Let's go. Start typing.
You're such a
Dude,
fucking idiot.
it's so funny because literally I listened because I'm listening so that I can type at the same time. It reads that I'd much rather you licked my wounds for me, and I literally paused, rewound it like a minute, and was like, all right, I gotta type all this shit out.
You're so ridiculous.
And she is like, she even says to herself, like, I had to like close my mouth and I was biting down a smile, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Lick you where exactly? And he says, wherever you want to lick me, Feyre. I'd like to start with everywhere, but I can choose if necessary. I'm like, all right.
Cheeky bastard.
My boy is spitting.
Uh-huh.
And she says, let's hope my licking is better than yours.
Oh,
I remember how horrible you were at it under the mountain.
Feyre.
I was under duress. If you want, I'd be more than happy to prove you wrong. I've been told I'm very, very good at licking.
Two varies.
Man. My boy is sure of himself.
Uh-huh.
And she says, good night.
Oh, hold on. Before that, I clenched my knees together and wrote back good night. Girl is hurting for a squirt.
Dude. Wrote back good night, and he says,
yeah, this is the best.
This is the best, dude. He just brings it home. Try not to moan too loudly when you dream about me. I need my beauty rest.
That's how you end it.
Dude.
That's a banger line from Rhys.
That is a banger line. Let's go.
Too loudly. That's really good. I did like that quite a bit.
Rhys is a cheeky bastard. So annoyingly confident, but like he has every reason to be. I'm so into it.
You are. We know.
Anyway, that's the end of the chapter.
Yes.
Did you have anything else you wanted to say?
No. Chapter 30. This is where we get into the training. So Feyre,
hyperbolic time chamber.
Yes, she's in the hyperbolic time chamber with Cassian, with old cashew milk. We find out Azriel can't get into the queen's palace because of a barrier. And so he comes back and just decides to spar with Rhys because he's pissed about it. But Feyre now, instead of training, is just staring at the hot, sweaty boys. They're so hot.
Yeah,
Cassian
and Azriel are so hot, dude.
Well, and Rhys too.
Well, yeah, but like I feel like Rhys is hot because of his charisma. I get the impression that like in terms of like body,
no, you're
like just build,
you're wrong.
Cassian and Azriel are like built.
You're wrong. She only describes Rhys and his muscles and his tattoos and his tanned skin.
That's not
and
true.
Like
she does describe theirs.
The sweat just rolling off this man's abs.
Yeah, but it's because she's into him.
Yeah, but like
there are comments that like from all of them that like, oh, Rhys is out of shape. Like these are the guys that are like, these are the epitome of physique.
Cassian says that, and Feyre thinks to herself like, that chiseled man of godhood is out of shape. You're fucking tripping.
Okay, all right.
No, she only has eyes for one.
I mean, I would too if I'm yeah, so Cassian asks about the note.
Oh yeah.
That she wrote to Tamlin, and he kind of makes like maybe a not well placed joke about it.
Yeah, what the fuck, Cashew?
Yeah, this dude. Look, man, I relate.
This is your guy. This is your fucking guy,
him, dude. Like this guy just like shoots and is like, oh, that's not what I meant. I do that, man. I definitely do that. And I'm like, whoa, hold on. Like, let me just clear up some intention here. I'm sorry if that made you feel a certain way. All I meant was I was opening up the door to have a conversation if you'd like.
That's fine. That's well and good. And he definitely does that here. He starts off by saying, when are you going to talk about how you wrote a letter to Tamlin telling him you left him for good? Just out of nowhere. Just out of the fucking blue. like takes Feyre completely by surprise. She hits back with, how about when you talk about how you tease and taunt more to hide whatever it is you feel for her? Because I had no doubt that he was well aware of the role he played in their little tangled web. So Cassian, Feyre is telling us here that Cassian definitely feels for Morgan.
Or has feelings about the situation.
I don't know.
Yeah, I still don't fully understand.
He said, this is good. This is great comeback, by the way, from Feyre. He says old news. And Feyre hits back with, I have a feeling that's what she probably says about you. Which makes him so mad and pissy that he's like, hey, get back in the ring and fight me. I said we were doing core work. No more. Like, just fight me. Come and fight me, bro.
Let me just beat your ass.
I can't stand this guy. Because then he seems to like genuinely apologize. He's like, listen, hey, I know that was like out of nowhere. That was out of left field, me asking you about Tamlin. I'm sorry. I know that's a sensitive topic. But also, hey, what's up with that? He asks her again. He like apologizes and it seems genuine, but then he keeps asking her about it. It's like, so you going to answer my question? Or he's a dick. I can't stand him. I cannot stand him.
I feel like you can't stand me then, because I feel like I am like Cassian.
I feel like that's fine because you and I would have that relationship to where I'd be like, okay, fine, whatever. I don't think Feyre and Cassian have that relationship.
Well, he's trying to build it up.
You can't be like, hey, listen, I know that was a dick thing to say. That's a sensitive topic. I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
But also tell me, though. But also seriously tell me.
What I think he was apologizing for how he asked the question, but still was like, but I am asking and I'm interested. And I want to fucking know, dude. That's how I would be.
God, he's the worst.
Yeah, no, I guess I am the worst.
True.
Okay. So we get some thoughts here.
Yes.
From Feyre, and I liked this.
Yes, this is good stuff for Feyre's character.
She acknowledges how Tamlin did jack shit.
We talked about this in the first book, too.
We sure fucking talked about this.
If you recall, I had big issue with the fact that when Amarantha was torturing and killing her, he was just sitting there and begging and not doing jack all. And now Feyre
Rhys was the one that tried to attack and gets his ass handed to him.
And now Feyre is realizing, hey, yeah, that was fucked up that he did that, which I think is great.
It is good.
Because she says, I had done everything for that love. I had ripped myself to shreds. I had killed innocents and debased myself. And he had sat beside Amarantha on that throne. And he couldn't do anything, hadn't risked it, hadn't risked being caught. We also talked about this with Emily. Until there was one night left and all he'd wanted to do wasn't free me, but fuck me. And when Amarantha
fuck me?
Well, probably that too. And when Amarantha had broken me, when she had snapped my bones and made my blood boil in its veins, he'd just knelt and begged her. He hadn't tried to kill her, hadn't crawled for me. Yes, he'd fought for me, but I'd fought harder for him. That is great self-realization and just like
and you know
understanding from Feyre.
Like, I really want to give credit where it's due here. I love that these like so many of these realizations that she's had throughout this book have been like her coming to these conclusions because she's seen the quality of the people around her.
Sure.
And also just because she's had time to process the situation.
Right. I think, yeah, the time to process is huge.
But it's like what I love about that specifically is that it's not anybody telling her that she's like telling her, well, Talmon's a piece of shit. He didn't do anything for you. You know what I mean? Like I just, because
no one's like steering her that way.
Exactly.
She's getting there on her own.
Exactly. Like, because Rhys could be the guy that's like, "Look at how much better I am.
Right,
Like,
right,
he
right.
treated you like shit, blah, 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 blah." Which he doesn't shy away from, like, making sure that she knows, like, how important, like, she is to him and, like, why he's doing the things that he's doing for her, but he's not doing it as a way to, like, compare to Tamlin. He's just doing it to care because he cares, you know what I
Sure.
mean? Um, so yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, no, for sure.
It's a good thing for her, good experience for her character.
Couple more things I love from her. She says, he had the nerve once his powers were back to shove me into a cage, the
Oh,
nerve to say I was no longer useful. I was to be cloistered for his peace of mind.
yeah,
He'd given me everything I needed to become myself, to feel safe, and when he got what he wanted, when he got his power back, he stopped trying. He
yeah.
was still good, still Tamlin, but he was just wrong. I don't know about the first one. I don't know about him still being still good,
I mean,
but
like, you and I have talked about this. Like,
right.
we don't think that he doesn't love her, that he doesn't care.
No, I
We
think it's
just
just
think
an
that
extremely misguided love.
yes, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Like, and I think that, like, it's probably the little bit of the love that she maybe still feels or acknowledges that she did feel that's maybe giving him the, like, some grace there, but I do think it's genuine. I mean, we talked about this several times. Like, he's Tamlin is going through shit. He is battling
No, for sure.
shit, and just unfortunately, he made the wrong decisions. Um,
No, for sure, but specifically when she just says he was still good, I think about stuff like the offering period, what he did with the were they sirens or
mm,
whatever they were. I was
the
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
is
Uh,
he is Tamlin an
Tithe.
yeah, is Tamlin actually a quote unquote good person though? Like she's claiming
That's fair.
he is, and I'm just like a little sus on that.
Yeah, no, you're probably right.
But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Um And then she kind of hits this. She says it out loud. The fact that she killed them. Um.
This is, by the way, I want to point out that she's still fighting with Cassian
Yeah.
as she's having these thoughts,
Oh right, right.
and she punches straight through the sparring pads. Like, she burns a hole through it. Her hands
Mm-hmm.
are like fire, and hits the shit out of Cassian. Uh
Yeah, I have a note that says this is power stuff here, so Zach will have copious amounts of notes, so I don't need to take anything.
I hate you. But then she says, "I killed them," and
Mhm.
I do like this very very small response and understanding from Cassian. She
Mhm.
acknowledges, "This is the first time that I've said the words,"
Right.
and he looks at her kind of fucked up, like he sees, like, that she's hurting, and he just says, "I know."
Mhm.
And she acknowledges that it's not condemnation, it's not praise, just honest, grim understanding.
Mhm.
And she says it should have been me.
It should have been me!
I'm so glad you had that
I
locked
I
in.
did as soon as
It
she
should have
said
been me.
as soon as I read that she said it should have been me, I was like, oh, you know what sound effect I'm letting fly when that
Yeah,
happens.
that's very good.
It should have been me!
So Feyre proceeds to start having an actual, like, anxiety or panic attack or trauma response.
Mhm.
The sun is becoming very blinding to her. She's just, like, getting super overstimulated as she's processing these thoughts.
Yeah.
And we get a very, like, romanticy, like, sweeping in. It's a solid
He
reaction. I
blocks out the sun with his wings.
Yes. Rhys sweeps in, wraps his wings around them, cocoons them, as she says.
Mm.
And
I
and I
could
do
smell the sweat on him.
yeah. You know what's funny? I've noticed that every time she describes the scent of Rhys, it's always like,
So sweaty. He's a
well,
sweaty
no,
boy.
no, it's well, I mean, yes, but, like, she says, like,
Sea and citrus?
yes, like, she's always, like, mixing like these like oh, it's like oak and like it's just very, I don't know, it's very
He
colorful.
smells of leather-bound tomes and rich
Yes.
mahogany.
Yes, like shit like that, dude. Yeah.
Oh,
Um
he smells of cloves and apple spice.
yeah, dude, I mean,
That's
whatever.
so funny.
Um Rhys says, uh, you will feel that way every day of your life. I know this because I have felt the same since my mother and sister were slaughtered and I had to bury them myself. And even retribution didn't fix it. You can either let it wreck you, let it get you killed like it nearly did with the Weaver, or you can learn to live with it. And she says, I'm sorry about your family. And he says, I'm sorry that I didn't find a way to spare you from what happened under the mountain, from dying, from wanting to die. And then he says, oh, and I love this. I have two kinds of nightmares. The ones where I am again Amarantha's whore, or my friends are, and the ones where I hear your neck snap and see the light leave your eyes. And she says, I just didn't know how to respond to that.
Damn.
And it's like obviously I like it because I'm a sap for like for the romance stuff, but like that's heavy, dude. Like
Yeah.
like when you love somebody, like if you love somebody, like being able to seeing them die
Yeah.
is fuck, dude.
I
Fuck
feel
that.
like this calls into question, like, when did he start feeling so strongly about her, do you think?
Well, see, I think he was interested in her since Calumni,
Sure.
since their first meeting, but I still am holding firm to him realizing that she is his mate
end of the book
at
when
the
he
end.
turned around.
Yes.
Yeah, could be.
But yeah, and then I have in all caps, by the way, Scott, burning hands, autumn court, just in case you were wondering.
Yeah, this is where my note was. Power stuff here. Zach will have plenty of notes.
Wait, is it autumn court though, or is it summer court?
No, it's autumn court. Summer court is water powers. Come on, dickbag.
Right. Yeah.
We'll find that out here in a minute. That's all I have for chapter 30.
Well, he does this cool darkness thing. He casts
right.
Darkness.
This
Activates
is power
trap
stuff.
card.
Yeah. He activates. That's why I have no more notes for chapter 30 because it's power stuff. Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. Okay. Continue. Proceed, Zach.
Just he's like, hey, look, check. He's like, hey, check out what I can do, and he fucking turns the lights out. He's got the
Doesn't he try to get her to do it as well?
Yeah. But makes it to where there's like stars floating, and it's, I don't know, it's cool.
There's a lot of star imagery. Didn't they swim through stars in the first book?
Yeah,
they had some galaxies caress their taints, you know.
Yes, they did. Nice.
Did do that. All right, chapter 31. Yes,
chapter 31.
So this is like 4 days later-ish. They're still training. Amren is giving Cassian shit. And Cassian says like, oh, why don't you get in the ring and I'll see how much practice you've been doing. Amren unconcerned. She says, touch me, Cassian, and I'll remove your favorite part, small as it might be.
Small as it might be. Oh my god, I love that. She's such a baller.
The goat. Amren is the absolute goat. Also, she's cleaning her nails with a bone. Feyre says, I realized she was cleaning her nails with a tiny bone. She definitely ate whatever that was that she's using to clean.
1000%. Yes,
I guess more accurately, drank its blood or whatever.
Not even a question.
Okay, this is where we get back into kind of the love triangle stuff, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, do you have notes on this?
I'm going to be honest with you, man. I was like, I think Scott probably took good notes on this.
Well, okay. The only note I have, and I feel like I'm a little torn on this. I feel like I don't love that these 1,000 however year old beings act like total teenagers in their relationships.
I mean, that is 1000% a product of like wanting to appeal to like the general audience
Sure.
of this story.
And I
Like
think
that's all it is.
I think that's fair. I think I'm just realizing that is not for me. That is not for Scott. And
Interesting.
that's
I like
a
that
me
kind of banter.
problem, I guess.
Well, I mean, most things are.
Most things are Scott problems. But yeah, I don't love Morgan being just like this like bratty teenager where she's just like, you're not the boss of me. I don't have to tell you where I went after I went dancing.
See, that's interesting to me because I genuinely thought that you were gonna be like, oh, like she's feisty and I like that. Or
I mean, I do.
like
No, it's more about just the fact that it seems like she's like stringing Azriel along and Cassian is like still in love with her, or he's just worried that she's stringing Azriel along.
Is that okay? That's what I was.
I have
That's
no idea.
kind of how I was reading it, but I wasn't sure. Like,
I cannot decide. But I was like trying to untangle this knot, and I eventually got to a place where I realized like, yeah, I don't think I care for these ancient high fae beings just like acting like lovesick teenagers. That just ain't for me.
I mean, this is a romantic
I know,
series, pal.
I know. I'm fully aware and I'm fully acknowledging this is a Scott thing. This is Scott and being like, oh, fucking figure it out. Grow up and figure it out, you idiots.
Yeah.
This is a me thing.
Uh-huh.
But this,
Yeah, it definitely is.
This didn't work for me.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
So that's what I have here.
Yeah, so finally, like at the end of this whole spat, Cassian's like, why the fuck are you guys here?
Yeah, that was kind of funny.
Yeah, like what are you guys doing here?
Because Amren was supposed to tell him something and he's like, you've been here an hour.
And she's just like,
yeah, still cleaning her nails.
Apparently Rhys is going to come and give them some news. And the news is Rhys shows up and they're going to the summer court. And by they, he means Rhys, Amren, and Feyre.
Right.
Cassian is upset that he's not going. Apparently, last time he was there, he destroyed something, and he's just a hothead.
There was a very funny bit here.
Okay.
Where Rhys says, Cassian, considering the fact that the last time you visited, it didn't end well, I wrecked one building. and Rhys keeps going. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
Considering the fact that they are utterly terrified of sweet Amren, she is the wiser choice. Feyre thinks, I didn't know if there was anyone alive who wasn't utterly terrified of Amren. I'm like, true.
Honestly, though,
Amren's my
fair.
goat.
Yeah, 100%. And then Rhys basically convinces Amren to go by telling her, "Hey, man,
oh yeah,
word on the street is like this High Lord is new. He probably hasn't kept, or I think Amren talks through this. That he probably hasn't made proper like checks and inventories on his treasures. So she's like, I could probably steal some shit.
Word on the street is this new High Lord is swimming in treasure. Amren is just like a pirate. I'm realizing. Amren
and that's
just
why
loves
you
some
like her.
booty. Yeah. I'm way here for Amren just like loving her, like going to get some pirate booty. That's great.
Gotta love some good pirate booty.
Hell yeah.
And that's pretty much the end of this chapter.
Yeah, I think so. I did find this interesting.
Okay.
I think again this is good for Feyre and her progress moving forward. Because there's a moment here where she and Rhys are flirting or something again. She's looking at his hot, sweaty bod, probably.
Yes.
Usually. Feyre thinks to herself that flirting with Rhys is easy and fun, and maybe she deserves something that's easy and fun. I'm like, good for you,
yes.
Feyre.
She does. And yeah, you're right. I did like that. She is, well, I was going to say she's human. I guess she's Fae now, but
Mhm.
she's a person to some degree.
She's a
And
person.
people have needs,
True.
and you're surrounded by a bunch of really hot men, one of which is very in love with you.
Mhm.
Like,
Like
you know?
super.
And also, like, for the most part, other than the whole Ador bullshit, like, treats you well.
Yeah, mostly. Yeah. He, listen, he has his stumbles here and there. That's all I had for chapter 31. You ready to jump into this
Yes.
summer court
Yeah,
nonsense?
this
Which
this is fun.
this is
I
where
enjoyed
it
these
gets
2
good.
chapters quite a bit.
Yes. This is very like heist vibes, like, oh, how are
But
we gonna
also,
do this?
I just like the politicking too, like, just the
Yes.
general,
Meeting
like,
new characters.
gotta love meeting a new character or
Yes.
characters. Yeah, for sure. I enjoyed this quite a bit.
So Rhys fishes them into the capital castle city of the summer court called the Adriata, and they meet Grand Moff Tarquin there. You better believe I'm making a Star Wars joke there when his name is Tarquin. They're going through these introductions here. Amren continues to be the goat. Amren doesn't nod, bow, curtsy. She looks at Tarquin. She says, "At least you are far more handsome than your cousin. He was an eyesore." And like the people around just like glare at Amren or whatever. And Amren just grins and says, "Oh, but condolences, of course," because his cousin that she's talking about
dead as
is
fuck.
dead as fuck, and that's why Tarquin is now in charge. Oh, condolences, of course.
Yo, that dude that
So,
is your family that is dead was ugly,
dude,
bro.
that dude was ugly as shit. It's
He was an
probably a
uggo.
good thing he's 6 feet under. Am I right?
What a fucking uggo, dude.
What a fucking uggo. That dude sucked. But condolences, of course. Condolences. So good. I love her.
We do get some interesting flavor here that like Feyre feels like she recognizes or remembers Tarquin.
Grand Moff Tarquin, yeah.
But yes. I think it's Tarquin, but okay.
It's definitely Tarquin.
Okay, all right.
You don't pronounce Q-U quain. Oh, I guess you sometimes do.
you do, and I remember, Scott, I am listening to the audio.
Nay, where's my nay button?
Nay.
Okay, all right. But she feels like she remembers him.
Right.
Like
they have a connection probably because of the power that she got from him.
And when Rhys introduces Feyre to Tarquin, they like kind of look at each other, and he begins to look down at her chest.
Mm-hmm.
To
which Rhys just sees the opportunity to make an ass of himself.
And it seems like the way that Feyre is reading this is like he's looking at her chest, like seemingly thinking about the power that like was given to her,
100%.
right? His power. But
Rhys is like, let me be a dickhead about it.
He goes, "Hey, her tits are pretty fucking nice, aren't they?"
Delicious as ripe apples is the exact.
Rhys, what are we doing here, bro? I am trying to stand for you so hard.
She says ripe apples.
Like I feel like this is like leaning into the like, hey, like we might have to romance our people a little bit.
Yes.
Which we see more next chapter, but like I still did not like this.
I don't know. I think it's pretty funny. She's into it.
Yeah.
She's of course into it.
Of course.
And she hits him back with the, "Here I was thinking you had a fascination with my mouth." And it says, quote, "Delighted surprise lit Rhys's eyes." So he's like, oh. he's like, oh shit.
God damn.
You know that got his little Rhys a little. He got a little half chub from that.
I have a sneaking suspicion that we will find out later in this book that it's not a little.
Oh
Rhys.
no, his little yeah. Listen, Sarah J. Maas does not write protagonists who have a little nothing. They have giant pecs, giant abs, giant wee-wees, the whole 9 yards. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. All the people there at the summer court are stone-faced and straight backed. They're not amused by this little like charismatic exchange.
Yes.
And then we meet another new character, Crusada. Crusada.
Crusadia? I don't know how to use.
I think it's Crusadia or Crusada.
Crusada? That sounds about right.
The princess of
Yes.
Adriata.
Was not clear what the relation between Tarquin and Cress is. I'm just going to call it Cress.
So, I mean, from what we know about the courts is like the person that's in charge is part of the family line, but it's not like.
You think they're maybe cousins, like aren't Morgan and Rhys cousins?
Yeah, exactly. Because the person who takes power is the person who is displaying the most power.
Right.
Like they are the most powerful.
Not that Uggo cousin. This is Grandma's Tarquin time.
Right. Well, I mean, he's dead, so he's not displaying the most power at all, or serving the most face.
No, none of the above.
But anyway, so we learned that there are 4 main cities in this dude's territory. I don't know if this is relevant.
Move around whatever the weather suits.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty baller.
But apparently this city was sacked by Amarantha and is in the process of like being repaired, kind of.
Yeah. There's a very good bit here when they're introduced to
Crusada.
Her younger brother, who's the captain of Grand Moff Tarkin's guard. It says his attention was fixed wholly on Amren, as if he knew where the biggest threat lay, and would be happy to kill her if given the chance. In the brief time I'd known her, Amren had never looked more delighted. Amren is so happy at the mere prospect of this guy taking a shot at her. She's like, go ahead. Shoot your shot, my dude. There's nothing in this world I would love more than for you to take a shot at me. Fuck around and find out. I love Amren so much.
She is very entertaining.
Yes, she's very fun.
So I don't have the full quote like of the full exchange. But Tarquin eventually asks, is being immortal lovelier than being human? And she looks him up and down and says, well, you tell me.
Right.
And he says, you are a pearl. Right?
I don't know. I don't have this.
That's what he says. And then she says, I do not remember you being quite so handsome under the mountain.
Oh yeah, she's trying her best.
The sunlight and sea suit you.
Mm-hmm.
And this, I'm fast forwarding a little bit. How exactly do you fit with Rhys's court? And Rhys hops in and says, Feyre is a member of my inner circle and my emissary to the mortal lands.
Right. He says striking up a conversation with the humans might be wise since war with Hybern is imminent. Nothing's
imminent.
Also, I have a quick note about how her magic painting powers are returning. I don't know what happens here, but she thinks about a painting or something. I'm like, oh, magic painting powers. So I think this is Tarquin. Oh, I'm pretty sure it is. He says, you know that against Hybern we will fight. We lost good people under the mountain. I have no interest in being slaves again. But if you are here to ask me to fight in another war, Rhys, and Rhys cuts in and says, that is not a possibility and did not even enter in my mind. Crusada kind of explains to Feyre, because Feyre is lost. He's talking about the possibility of Tamlin going to war to get her back.
Right.
Cress says High Lords have gone to war for less. Doing it over such an unusual female would be nothing unexpected. So she is realizing that that's why they accepted this meeting, to feel out if that's what Rhys wants. Like, do you want her help in a war against Tamlin?
And
Tarquin is like, that ain't happening.
Right. um, when Feyre starts to kind of better understand what's happening here, she chimes in with, "I left of my own free will,
Right.
and no one is my master."
Master.
To which I think it's Crusada says, "Think that all you want, lady. You were his bride." Um, and yeah, so there's just a little bit of tension there with that.
Yeah, because Crusada even goes so far as to say, it's a very good thing Tamlin respects your decisions. Otherwise, all it would take would be one letter from him to Tarquin requesting your return, and we would have to obey or risk war ourselves. And Tarquin is the one that's kind of trying to play peacemaker between the two sides.
Yes.
He's like, careful, but my sister speaks the truth, but Rhys is our guest. His courtiers are our guest, and we will treat them as such. We will treat them, Crusada, as we treat people who saved our necks when it all would have been taken was one word from us to be very, very dead.
Yeah.
I like Tarquin right off the bat.
I also enjoy Tarquin quite a bit.
Right.
Good. You know what I like specifically? I know that like Cassian and Azriel and Rhys all have very different personalities, but there is still this like I feel like the way that like the like these characters have been written is like, I mean, we've joked about this, like everybody's just so hot, and that's not what's being leaned into with Tarquin's
like she definitely makes a point to say that he is hot, just so we're all clear. But no, there's like a way more of like a humbleness to him, I feel like.
Yes. And we also learned that he is quite young.
Yes.
For a High Lord. So that also paints a picture of like him maybe being a little like still kind of like dipping his feet in on like how to politic.
Yes.
Which I like that. I like seeing a good variety of like characters in different places.
And we'll get into more of this later, but he's got his own ideas of how things should be done too. And I like him more for that. Tarquin asks to forgive the princess and her caution because rebuilding has been a long and hard process and sacrifices were made. This is where Rhys goes into dickbag mode. And he's like, hey, we all made sacrifices, and you now sit at this table with your family because of the ones Feyre made. So you will forgive me, Tarquin, if I tell your princess that if she sends words to Tamlin, or if any of your people try to bring her to him, their lives will be forfeit. And Tarquin does not back down, to his credit. He says, do not threaten me in my own home, Rhys. My gratitude only goes so far. It's not a threat, Rhys countered. It's a promise. And Feyre kind of has to break the ice here.
I'm glad she did too.
Yeah, I'm glad she did too. She lifts a glass of wine and says, no wonder immortality never gets dull. And it kind of comes around at the beginning of this next chapter. We actually find out apparently Rhys likes them. Does not appear that way here.
I mean, it's all a front. It's politicking. Right. It's like, hey, you got to know I swing a big dick.
Yeah.
I got to make sure that you're not going to go behind my back. Right.
He's just coming in a little hot for my taste. And this is where I took the note. I can't believe this is coming from me of all people, but Rhys could use a little empathy sometimes.
Oh my God, bro. It's just like,
he's a little overprotective of Feyre in a way that reminds me of someone else sometimes. Like right here.
It's different kind of like, hey, you're going to show her respect, not I'm going to hover over her and not let her be her own person. That's very different.
No, it is different. I'm just saying it leans that way sometimes.
I mean, we all want to protect what we love.
Sure.
And
it can get
so
out of hand.
like I understand that this maybe lens might be colored by my bias.
Mm-hmm.
But I do feel like this is the front that Rhys needs to put on to the rest of the courts. Like the rest of the courts do not see Rhys as the leader of Valaris.
No, that's true. And that's a fair point.
This is who he is to these people. This is how he has to politic, I feel like.
Well, then that's unfortunate and shitty.
I mean, sure.
Because
I mean, would I like a scene where they're just kind of being boys, like, yo, what's up, my guy? And like just shooting the breeze? Yeah, that's cool.
Like Tarquin seems like a really good dude, and he's like trying to chill the situation. It's like, hey, listen, we lost a lot during that bullshit. Like, we're rebuilding. Like, there's a lot of sacrifices, and you know, this city is still on its way back. And Rhys of all people shouldn't be very, you know, grateful with what he has in his city. And he kind of is just like, yeah, that's cool and all that, you know, you've made these sacrifices, but you know who made bigger sacrifices? Feyre. It's just like, okay, did you really need to swing that dick there, dude? It's like, it's not a competition. Okay.
Look.
Do you see what I'm saying?
I do see what you're saying, but I still feel like it's okay.
This is part of his front, is what you're saying.
Well, it is part of his front, but also legitimately, like Crusada and whoever else,
her brother, whatever his name is.
Yeah, I don't. I have it somewhere, but I don't see it in front of me. Whatever.
Tooth. Definitely.
They may not fully respect this new guy. He's young. He's being a little bit soft, right? So like just because he's saying, "Hey guys, let's settle it down," you like truly you wouldn't want to like make sure like, hey, if anybody does go do this shit, like it is going to be a fucking problem.
Rhys is saying that.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like he's taking that extra measure. Like if they feel like they have to speak up and talk above Tarquin to establish that, then they may not respect Tarquin being like, no, guys, like everybody be chill. So like I would also want to kind of flex and like make sure that they know I'm not fucking around.
That's fine. It's just the part where he tries to make it a sacrifice competition is where I'm just like, what are you doing, dude? Like, that's not a competition.
I mean, it is though. Saying? She fucking died for them.
Okay?
Fucking Jesus, bro.
It's not a fucking... Who made the bigger sacrifices should not be an issue.
Tarquin's trying to give Crusada a pass for being a bitch.
No.
Because of her sacrifices. And it's like, don't fucking tell me about... Like, that doesn't give you a pass to be that way.
It's not being a pass. It's just he's saying, look, we've been through shit too. Like we talk about with Tamlin, like we have to acknowledge that he also went through some shit despite how shitty he is. They also went through shit under the mountain. I don't know. It's just Rhys didn't have to like go. I understand if you want to come at it from the angle of this is the facade that he has to put up. Because he's the evil lord of the Night Court. And Valaris and all this is the second half of him that is fully a secret. But I also feel like that will only fly for so long. If you want to rally people against Hybern, you're going to need them to want to be with you. And if you're going to try and keep up this asshole nightmare court leader facade, how's that going to get you to where you want to be?
I mean, we're just going to have to see how that unfolds, man. Like I think what I'm saying is I definitely don't take as much of an issue with this. It is a side of Rhys that I'm like, like you're you're being a bit much,
Right.
but I think it's warranted.
That's all I'm saying. It's just a little much. He just goes
Okay.
a little hard, a little overprotective of Feyre.
A little hard in the paint.
A little hard in the paint.
All right, fine.
I think that's the end of chapter 32.
That is the end of chapter 32. All right, this is some good stuff. 33 is good.
Yeah.
So my first note, Rhys shows up in Feyre's room. Yes, he looks hot as shit.
Well, of course.
Well, of course. And we find out that he does, in fact, like Tarquin and Cressida.
Mm-hmm.
And we get this interaction between...
Varian is apparently his name.
What is it?
Varian is the brother, because he says, Varian I could live without, but I bet a few weeks with Cassian and Asriel, and he'd be thick as thieves with them, and I'd have to learn to like him.
So he's
probably
a hothead.
He'd be wrapped around Amren's finger and have to leave him alone entirely or risk her wrath. I don't know. What does that even mean?
I mean,
going to be Amren's little boy toy? Is that what
probably.
he's saying? All right.
Probably.
All right.
So we get this interaction between Rhys and Feyre where Rhys is kind of like clarifying, like, hey, like, I'm gonna give you your space to like do what you need to do. Just like, honestly, like, basically, don't fuck this up, please. Like, we need them as our allies. We don't want them as enemies.
If you need to fuck him up, that's fine.
So she says, so don't get caught. Okay, got it. Rhys is jealous that Tarquin is looking at Feyre so much, or he's displaying some jealousy.
For sure.
Maybe Tarquin's into her. Maybe he's just interested in the power that he assumes she has. But he says, do anything you need to. And again, we get Feyre leaning into this cheeky ass, like, I'm gonna flirt back. I'm gonna yank your fucking dick around a little bit and see what happens.
Apparently this entire time he's just got her like pinned against the dresser. Did you notice this? Like, he's got his arms on either side of the dresser of her the entire time.
Oh, I noticed.
This man does not believe in personal space. That's just a foreign concept to him. So
Feyre says, anything? If I fucked him for it, what would you do? And he says, you say such atrocious things. You are always free to do what you want with whoever you want. So if you want to ride him, go ahead. And she says, maybe I will. And he says, do not jeopardize this mission. Yeah, he doesn't want her to do that at all.
Do not jeopardize this mission. That's so good.
Please. please don't do it. And he's like, all right, can we stop talking about this? Can you light that candle or not? I thought, was that a weird like pace change
segue?
Or
yes.
Was that just me? Okay, all right. Can you light that candle? She tries, but water comes out instead because she's just hurting for a squirting, so she does it through her hands instead.
She used hydro pump, bro.
She used hydro pump. No, she used squirt.
She used squirt. Is there really a Pokemon move named Squirt?
I don't think so. But water comes out instead, and Rhys says,
soaks everything.
Can't you ever follow orders?
Oh,
and I'm like,
boy,
can she? I guarantee you she can.
Yeah.
And then I also was like,
also I can
follow some orders.
Follow an order. Also pretty good at getting wet. Is that what you needed? Is that what you asked for?
So yeah, I don't really remember how we get to this part of the conversation. If you have more notes, you obviously chime in. But...
where she asks if Tam will really go to war over her.
Yes. Yeah.
They kind of just jump into that.
So, well, they talk about the war thing. My notes here are about like him telling him what Tamlin did, or telling Feyre what Tamlin did. Like how he says he locked you up because he knew. The bastard knew what a treasure you are. but you are worth more than land or gold or jewels. He knew it and wanted to keep you all to himself.
Mm.
And Feyre says, I like this. I like that she pushes back a little bit. He does love me, Rhysand. And Rhysand does hit back with actual truth. The issue isn't whether he loves you, it's how much. Too much. Love can be a poison. And I just
Sounds
want to
like
say,
someone's speaking from personal experience. I don't know if we're getting the whole recent story. You know what I'm
might
saying?
be, mayhaps.
Looks like you got some pain behind those eyes, brother.
Kunu. What does he call him? Kunu?
I think it's
Oh my god, what a
shouts
what a
to Kunu. Oh, the weather outside is weather.
PPOP. PPOP.
I do think this is interesting. Not really interesting, just like expected of her. Feyre says that she would willingly go back if that's what it took, so no one would die for her.
Yes.
Like if Tamlin went to war, she said, I would just willingly go back because I don't want anyone to die for me. And Rhys, I feel like that's when he kind of pushes back on that. And it's just like, listen, he knew, but he loves you too much and loves to poison or what have you.
Yeah. So yeah, my next notes are at dinner.
The party time. Yeah.
It's the party time. Everybody's singing at the party.
Everybody's dancing at the party.
The party. So they're at dinner. They're talking with Tarquin. Feyre looks hot as hell. And wait, hold on. Why do I have this quote? I have a quote that says, "How did you keep it out of her hands?"
Oh,
What is that?
this is where she basically gets an audience to see his treasures for the following day.
Right. Okay. Yes.
She's like looking at his crown, and it's like, oh, your crown's so pretty. How'd you keep it out of her hands?
I do also have a cheeky note. Feyre's pissed that Rhys didn't say anything about how good she looked.
Yeah.
She's like, man, I look fucking hot as hell. I picked my own outfit. And he didn't fucking say anything. And I'm just like,
we skipped over this, but he also didn't say anything the morning they left too, which she was also pissed about. But because he was pissy, and Amren said it was because Cassian and Azriel
beat him in cards.
They really fucked him up in cards. I'm like, this man is a child. He's a man child.
He's a man child, but he's a super hot man child.
He's a super hot, sweaty man child. Yeah.
Yeah, and my note here is like, sometimes we just want to be told we look pretty. Scott, tell me I'm pretty.
Zach,
okay.
You look very pretty today.
Oh, thanks,
that
pal.
shade of brown hoodie really brings out your mustache. I'm so good at this.
Hell yeah, brother. I love you, man. Honest.
That's the main thing I think about when I think of you.
Honest to fuck.
No, true. This did happen.
Honest to fuck. Before we started recording, I told Scott. Scott, I was like, "Hey, dude,
you fucking weirdo.
Are you using a different light? Because like you look good, man. Like you look clear, and like your eyes look blue, and like you look pretty, dude.
I always use.
It's just
because I'm
just
not wearing my glasses for once, and
maybe
I told you that, and you were like, "Oh, maybe, I don't know." Such an imbecile. So this is where Feyre and Tarquin kind of get into some like economical, societal structures conversation.
Yeah.
Because Tarquin asks her about the mortal lands. And she tells him, hey, having money is kind of everything there. It's pretty fucked up how when we had money, we had all the friends. And when we didn't have money, no one would pay any attention to us.
Yep.
Tarquin asks her if she would spare them if war came. And she's like, well, my family for sure, yes. But maybe perhaps the rest of the order could do with some disrupting. Feyre's Comrade Feyre. She's a real revolutionary over here.
Dude.
Comrade Feyre is like, we need to disrupt the order.
But also, Tarquin is like, yeah, he's about it.
Comrade Tarquin also.
Comrade
He's not a Grand Moff for nothing.
I have a note here that says Tarquin seems like an actual stand-up guy.
Yes.
He cares about the little people, wants to see them integrated. Old Bernie Sanders motherfucker. Yeah,
Bernie,
he cares.
He talks about how the lesser fairies are nothing compared to even like the lowest high fae. And that's like, it's very set in tradition.
But he wants them to have a voice.
But he wants to kind of disrupt. He says that's not really how I want to run things, and if I can, I want to get away from that. He's like, it's going to be difficult because of the way how like set in tradition, you know, their society is. And Feyre, according to Feyre, she thinks he's like genuine about this. Like he's not just selling her a line. So
yeah,
Tarquin
absolutely.
Seems like a good dude.
She to this, she responds, I'm thinking it would be very easy to love you. Even easier to call you a friend. And she's like, she's
having to remind herself that I have to steal from this dude. Just bear in mind, you have to steal from him.
She's like, I can do this. I can do this.
Totally do this. He just, when he looks the other way, I'm gonna rob his ass blind. Well, she does have the thought that like maybe he'd just give it to me, like if I ask nicely enough.
Yeah, probably not. But I think it's very funny that she is actively playing this flirty game and like pushing that envelope with him. Looks over to Rhys doing the same fucking thing with Cressida and is like, nope, I do not like it.
Actually not, though. Actually, that is not okay. It was really funny when I was taunting him earlier about fucking Grand Moff Tarquin. That was really fun and cool, and I felt very happy about myself. And then I look over and see her on his lap. Absolutely the fuck not.
She says, Rhys teased double nay on that one.
Yeah, I don't know where.
Nay, double nay.
There you go.
Yeah.
Feyre thinks, well, Rhys teased me and taunted me, but he never seduced me like that. And Feyre actually acknowledges to herself like that she is lonely. Like she does miss a connection. Again, I appreciate that. I think it's good for her character. Like romance aside, it's like these are real feelings. And then I also said, yeah, she's hurting for a squirtin'.
She's hurting bad.
Good thing they're in the summer court because I feel like squirtin's coming.
I feel like Feyre needs to hang out with Morgan more. I think she needs some more normal ass friends.
Honestly,
with like how this loneliness she's feeling, like it doesn't always have to be about that sweaty hot dude.
It doesn't have to be about getting dicked down.
Yeah.
I will like this was going to be my final thoughts, like my wrap up. But how incredible that short, tiny chapter was between of Feyre and Morgan. Like, yeah, dude, we need more of that. And like, our bias aside, I just think that would be genuinely so good for Feyre's character.
100%. 100%.
But only a couple more things to go over here. So she acknowledges she feels sad, recognizes that she's feeling an honest emotion, though. She's like, hey, I am feeling something that isn't nothingness. I mean, dude, that's big. So big. For somebody who's dealing with depression,
yes,
that is big.
That's big.
And I'm so glad that it is written in this way that she's like, oh, like she surprises herself that she's feeling a real feeling and not nothingness. So yeah, love that. Proud of my girl Feyre.
As long as she doesn't let her sadness and loneliness drag her back into depression.
Well, sure, but her acknowledging her feelings, I think, is like
Sure.
awesome.
No, it's a
Good
it's a
step.
good step. It's a good step. Honestly, maybe she needs to go have a chill talk with Amren. Amren's cool as hell. Like,
Amren is. I don't think Amren would know what the fuck to do with her though.
I don't. You're probably right. I feel like Amren would give her the very harsh, direct, tough love, maybe.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know if that's exactly what Feyre needs, but I don't know. Amren would just be like, "Get the fuck over yourself." I'm like a billion years old. Do you know what the shit I've been through?
I don't think that Feyre is in a place where she needs advice.
No, you're probably
her
right.
character has done such a good job of like self-evaluating,
Right.
processing.
The introspection.
All she needs is company. Like she needs like an authentic connection with somebody.
That's why she needs more.
She needs Morrigan.
Buddy friend time with Morrigan.
Or Azriel. Azriel seems cool.
But yeah, Azriel too. Normal, friendly relationships. Not just, as you said, the dicking down. So eloquently. As you so eloquently put it.
My last note here is that she gets upset, takes a boat ride. When she gets back, Amren, Varian, and Tarquin are waiting for her, but she does notice Rhys and Cressida are nowhere to be seen.
Yeah. Speaking of getting a dicking down, so Cressida is getting a dicking down. Yeah. And this is what Feyre is thinking.
She's like,
where did they go?
Stupid. Oh man, that was this batch of chapters, and guess what? We still are. Well, actually, with how long our Patreon?
Oh no, this one did go quick. I told you it would be.
Yeah, it did. Hell yeah, Scott! I'm proud of us, man.
I'm very proud of us too.
I'm proud of us.
Honestly, I think we're just brave. We're so stunning and brave for how well we did this.
And you look pretty today, Scott.
Thank you. You know what? And your mustache and your brown hoodie, just so great.
It's good to see you, buddy.
It's good to see you, buddy.
And if you guys want to get this brown hoodie, you guys can do it on mythkeeperspod.com. /store.
Where's my one?
I hate you so much.
Do not touch the rubbish.
Yeah.
There it is. I found it.
If you are just now seeing it, Mythkeepers has a sweet ass death metal design on this hoodie.
You know what?
We got a bunch of other shirts, hats, like the one that Scott's wearing right now.
Oh, true. I am wearing that.
Yeah, go check that out.
Who doesn't love a good daddy hattie?
Daddy hattie, death metal shirt. We got some crop tops too. I do want to point out and say, since we're talking about the merch, we are working on getting some like women cut shirts rather than just like the crop top and then the unisex top. It was feedback that was requested, so thank you for the feedback. And we apologize for not being more aware and mindful of that when putting out merch, because we know that like 90% of you all listening and watching are women, and we should have been more aware of that. So we are working on getting that out to you guys. But if you would like a unisex shirt, hoodie, crop top, sweaters, all that good shit, we've got it all on the store. Go check that out. Scott.
Yes.
We've got to do a thing.
Oh, we do have to do a thing. Shit, I thought I was ready to wrap up. I totally forgot.
No,
it's time for Who Be Courtin'. Where we last left off, Elaine had taken our top spot. Boy, I don't remember this at all. Azriel was at 2. Amren was at 3. Feyre was at 4. And Nesta was at 5. Elaine, that's right.
Elaine crushed last section.
I totally forgot about that. She's such a sweetheart.
She is such a sweetheart.
We really realized that, like, no, Elaine, she's like, ditzy.
Diplomat.
A little not aware all the time, but she's a real total sweetheart. I totally
and she's aware of like human or just like the emotional side of their interaction.
Yes.
And is definitely, I think you're the one that said this, will take up some type of role as a diplomat.
I think
in
so.
like in everything that's going to unfold. So
for sure.
Yeah, big fan.
Well, she was not in this section, unfortunately, though, so she does have to come off.
Yeah.
Same for Nesta. I'm just going to go ahead and pull everyone off, Zachy boy. Again, as I said, I totally forgot we had to do this thing, so I have not thought about this even a little bit. Where's your head at? Who were you thinking is strong?
Yeah, so I thought that Feyre was very good this section.
Very good this section.
Very good. I loved her introspection this section. And it was cool to see her kind of step into addressing her needs and wants and allowing herself to kind of go into that space. And also it's cool seeing her interact with Tarquin and like kind of play the game a little bit. So Feyre carried a lot for me this section.
I think Feyre is probably the number one for this section.
Okay.
I think she was all around pretty great.
Hell yeah, I definitely agree.
I know she's just kind of cheeky comic relief a lot of times, but I feel very strongly about Amren.
I think Amren's on the list. I don't know that she's second.
Okay, who would you put second then? I think Tarquin makes the list. I don't know where.
Tarquin's. Yeah, I really enjoyed.
I think Tarquin and Amren definitely make the list for me.
I mean, you're gonna disagree, but I did really enjoy the Cassian stuff on the sparring grounds.
I knew you would say that. I am not against.
And I enjoyed Rhys too. I enjoyed Rhys's like banter with Feyre quite a bit these chapters.
I think our other four are probably Tarquin, Amren, Rhys, and Cassian.
Okay.
I think Cassian is probably fifth. Agreed.
You're probably right. Yeah.
I'll let him be on the list, but that dude kind of
such a bitch,
sucks.
Dude. I hate you so much, man.
Straight up sucks.
He doesn't suck, dude.
Hey, I'm really sorry I asked you that question. But are you going to answer it, though?
But you should tell me anyway.
But you should tell me, though. Like, what's the
I
answer?
1000% would do that.
Fine. Which is why I fucking hate you.
Yeah.
All right. Tarquin, Rhys, and Amren, where do they slot in
Let's go. I want to go Rhys to... I do want to go Rhys to Tarquin, Amren.
I guess I don't feel that strongly one way or the other, so I'm fine with that. Grand Moff Tarquin. I won't have room for his full title. That's a shame. And then Amren fourth. You know, I think that's selling my goat a little short, but she is just kind of there for the for the funnies.
She's interesting. I love to talk about her and her attitude.
Yeah.
But like she's not doing much, unfortunately. So yeah, she's just kind of occupying some space right now.
You're not totally wrong. Okay. I feel like that was pretty straightforward, that we had a couple new characters, but nobody that went really crazy aside from Tarquin. Yeah, I feel pretty good about that, Zach. From bottom to top, that is Cassian at
just
5th.
Like I like it.
Oh, I know. Amren in 4th, Tarquin in 3rd, Rhys in 2nd, and Feyre in 1st. Pretty straightforward. Who be courting there?
Who be courting? That's who's courting. Any other final thoughts you got, Scott?
No, I do not believe so. I think we are, if I remember looking correctly, aren't we at about like the halfway of
I wanted
episodes?
to ask you how are you at a point where you're like excited for the rest of the book? Like where are we at right now?
I'm excited for this current like heist thing we got going on. I'm glad that we're out of the night court and exploring other courts. I think that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I'm good if we don't get much more hanging out and training in Valeris.
Yeah.
I feel like from now on, I want this book, like it did in the last 2 chapters, to kind of go and do stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm hoping and looking for.
Do you think that this heist is going to make enemies of these people, or do you think it'll be successful? Because that would be interesting.
I feel like something has to go wrong because that's just how stories work.
Yeah.
But I hope we don't make enemies of them. Maybe he will understand. Because
Possibly.
he straight up told Rhys, like, yeah, we'll fight against Hybern. I have no interest in being slaves again. We'll 100% fight with you against Hybern. So, like, Tarquin's on their side. Maybe they don't need all this this politicking and secrecy.
Do you think that they are honestly on their side, or
I
like
think
you think they
Tarquin
could
at
be
the very
scheming?
least is on the up and up.
I think some of his people are scheming.
Some of his advisors might be scheming, and maybe that's where like the conflict will come in, is that there's some in his retinue that want to like do a coup or something.
Or who are wanting to like hand Homegirl back
Or that.
to Tamlin.
Do we think
do we
that
think we're
will
gonna get a that's what I was
Well done. You and I on the same level.
Dude, our tips are
I
like
am engaging in consumption.
It's true. Tamlin
has to come back in this book. Like I will actually be upset if he doesn't. Like there needs to be a conflict.
He 100% will. I feel like war will be threatened by Tamlin, but it will never actually come to that.
Okay, so question. Actually, we've talked about like, I mean, because what are there? Like, how many fucking books are there here?
Oh, I have no
like,
idea. There's
like
69
the king of,
chapters in this book. You better you better believe I'm never forgetting that.
The king of Hybern is like, seems like the ultimate bad guy.
I mean,
like he's the big bad at the end of the series.
I would
what
assume
like.
so. Yes.
So we need like
a book bad guy.
A book bad guy. Like, do we get a war with Tamlin, like a civil war between the courts?
I kind of hope Tamlin is the book bad guy for this book, because I think that would be the most interesting course to take. Because if we get some third act reveal of, oh, it's this fucker that was behind it the whole time,
is there not a book bad guy and it's just a heist book? Like,
you need
like
some book bad guy.
I mean,
even if it is just in a Tamlin way of he's not maybe truly a bad guy, maybe he comes around at the end.
Do you think oh wait, hold on. Ianthe exists and she's in this book.
Fuck, true. Forgot about old Ian.
Is she the book bad guy?
Possibly. I feel like she'll be like a worm tongue role. She'll be around longer down the line.
Okay. Yeah. You're probably right.
She'll be like a secondary bad guy helping out old KOH for a while. That's my feeling towards her.
Okay. You know, our other episodes have gone on pretty long, so we haven't gotten to like.
So you're saying we need to fill up more time and just
no.
Here?
I genuinely was wondering, like,
sure.
What are we thinking is going to go down this book? But
I don't know. I'm not thinking about it too hard. I'm kind of just trying to enjoy the ride.
Okay. And are you enjoying the ride so far? Halfway through?
Yeah.
Okay.
More
than
just
last book?
Huh?
More than last book?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
I think there was a degree of fun in that where it was just like, this is kind of stupid and ridiculous and we're having fun with it. Not that it was bad, but you know what I mean. Just like,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
We're having a good time shooting shit on the podcast about it. And we still obviously are doing that here, but I just definitely feel like this is, as the world is getting fleshed out, this is just a more interesting, complete story. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, with a really shitty plot device, but yes.
We love the Cauldron. I don't know what you're talking about. It's my favorite. I've never been the feat. Have I told you about the feat of the Cauldron?
Dude, I will never forgive I don't care how great this book ends. I will never forgive the plot device in this book. I just putting that out there right now.
I love the part that kills me is like that the cauldron is like the source of all magic and all creation, but you gotta charge that shit up. Like it'll
or if you just saw the feed off, bro.
Yeah, also that.
Fuck.
It's fucked.
Yeah, it's
but if you resurrect one dude, that battery's straight to zero.
Something for many listeners that you guys will probably be excited about. I am going to start reading the Throne of Glass series soon. Once I finish up Red Rising.
You're not reading enough books.
Well, no,
currently.
I'm gonna finish Red Rising.
I don't. You've never finished anything in your fucking life.
Okay, well, I finished the first 2 books.
He can't even deny that because he knows it's true.
And I am going to start reading Throne of Glass. Many of you have said that we would both love it more, but also it's an 8-book series, and I know Scott's not going to sign on for another 8-book series by Sarah J. Maas after ACOTAR, and I want to read it. So I'm probably going to do that, and I might post about it. I don't know if I'll post about it here or on socials or what, but I'm interested in doing that. So I'm sure you guys will get a kick out of that.
Thank you so much for joining.
Yeah. We appreciate you guys for listening and watching. If this is your first time here, please consider subscribing or hitting the follow button wherever you are listening or watching. It would mean the world to us. And hey, tell your friends. We know
tell your grandmas.
Tell your grandmas more importantly, but we know that all you book girlies have like a million other book girlies that are like obsessed with this.
Is that how that works?
I think that's how it works.
Cool.
So tell your friends. Say, hey, these 2 dipshits are reading our favorite book series, and tell them to listen. Do that thing. Anyway, we'll see you guys next time. Oh, by the way, next time we are doing what chapters are we doing, Scott?
I don't know. Where's my phone?
I can tell us. Hold on one sec.
It's somewhere on there.
It's posted.
Chapters 34 through 38. Another 5 chappy chunk. Did I do my
5 chappy
right?
chunk.
Potatoes.
There you go.
Potatoes. All right. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you guys so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.